You have your cartels? Okay. Jaya Radha Madhava Gunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Gunja Bihari Gopijana Balava Girivardhari Gopijana Balava Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajanandana Yashodanandana Brajanandana Yamanatira Vanabchadi Yamanatira Vanabchadi Jaya Radha Madhava Gunja Bihari Madhava Gunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Gunja Bihari Madhava Gunja Bihari Gopijana Balabha Girivardhari Gopijana Balabha Girivardhari Jasodanandana Brajanandana Jasodanandana Brajanandana Yamunatira Vanachadi Yamanatira Vanachadi Jaya Radha Madhava Gunja Bihari Madhava Gunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Gunja Bihari Jayom Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Harivedagacharya Astatara Satasi Srimad His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Gora Premanandi Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
We're reading from Canto 10, Chapter 14. Brahma's very elevated and wonderful prayers to Krishna, following his having made a pretty significant offense to Krishna. And we had some discussion this morning based upon something that was said in the verse and purport, and now we're going to be hearing something a little different. One of the discussions this morning was Brahma asking for forgiveness, as in, the offense that I made, please release me from the reaction of this offense? That kind of forgiveness, or was he just simply saying, I'm very regretful for the wrong that I have done, and whatever you wish to do, forgive or punish, that's for you to decide. So this evening's commentary is making it very clear, at least these commentators are saying, he wants forgiveness, he wants release from the reaction. So both positions can be taken. Just what's instructive for us is important, not just what is it this or that, what Brahma did, what should we be doing? And either way, we just accept something is coming. Let's take, for example, Maharaj Parikshit. When he made his mistake, he saw some misfortune was coming. He knew, because he's a great personality. And his decision before the reaction came was, whatever it is, I accept it. The reaction came, I accept it. So that's a perfectly legitimate, personality-specific, circumstance-specific option. And this is also another that is appealing for release from the reaction, forgiveness for the action, and release from the reaction. So here's the verse, text 9, 10:14:9. Picture, there's 5-year-old Krishna smiling at the oldest created being in the universe, Brahma, the creator of the universe, very, very powerful, very, very intelligent. Of course, his power and his intelligence comes from Krishna. And Krishna's just smiling, looking at him with unblinking eyes, listening. And Brahma's offering him prayers. My Lord, just see my uncivilized impudence. This uncivilized is anarya, similar as what's in Bhagavad Gita, anarya jushtam ashvargyam. Krishna is saying to Arjuna. Here's Brahma saying about himself, my anaryan, my uncivilized impudence. To test your power, I tried to extend my illusory potency to cover you, the unlimited and primeval supersoul, who bewilder even the masters of illusion. What am I compared to you? I am just like a small spark in the presence of a great fire. Masters of illusion. So there's different types of masters of illusion. Maybe you remember the discussion about Mother Jasoda when she saw the universe with inside Krishna's mouth. One of the options that she was considering was, maybe this is one of the illusory powers of the demigods to bewilder me. And then she thought, no, I'm too insignificant. Why would the demigods bother to even do anything with me? But demigods have illusory powers. They can create illusions. So Krishna, bewilders even the masters of illusion. But it's not just demigods. Mayadhanva, for example, had mystic powers, that he could do mystical things. He created for Shalva a mystical airplane. He had mystic powers. So yogis may have some mystic powers, an illusory appearance of something. In Ramayana, we have the example of the mystic or the witchcraft guy that created a head that looked just like Ram's. You know that story? Yeah. And then also a sword or bow and arrow that looks just like Ram's, and presented to Sita, and she, and then it disappeared. So there are those that have powers of creating illusion, and Super Soul bewilders even those who create illusion, the masters of illusion. Jiva Goswami's commentary. In this verse, Brahma asked for forgiveness for his offense, making himself an example of the futility of trying to know the Lord. Well, it's not trying to know the Lord by the method that he was using. Aryam means, quote, being well-bred or civilized, unquote. That includes having wisdom. Civilized people have wisdom. Just see my foul nature, my foolishness, anaryam, the opposite of well-bred and being wise. By this, Brahma reveals his nature, quote, as a low-bred person, I have committed a foolish act against you, my master, Isha, my father, Adye. As a fool, I have committed an act against the soul of all, including me, Paramatmi, against the person with unlimited powers, Anante. Not knowing all this, I spread my Maya over you, the master of Maya, Mayi, Mayani. This makes me the greatest fool. Why? I wanted to see your powers. Previously, it was stated that he wanted to see some other sweet power of the Lord. This goes back to the previous chapter 13, text 15. It reads, by spreading Maya to see your powers, I have even more, or Kian, I have even more of a rascal. An example is given to show the extent of his low mentality. I'm like a spark in a great fire. Out of wretchedness, Brahma says, I wanted to see my own powers by spreading my Maya. So the reference is 10, 13, 15. And I think the reference comes up shortly, but I'll just read 10, 13, 15. Should have copied it here. 10, 13, 15. Reads, Oh, Maharaj Parikshit, Brahma, who resides in the higher planetary system in the sky, had observed the activities of the most powerful Krishna in killing and delivering Aghasura, and he was astonished. Now, that same Brahma wanted to show some of his own power and see the power of Krishna, who was engaged in his childhood pastimes, playing as if with ordinary cowherd boys. Therefore, in Krishna's absence, Brahma took all the boys and calves to another place. Thus he became entangled, for in the very near future, he would see how powerful Krishna was. So it was his curiosity he wanted to see. Sanatan Goswami writes, Brahma reveals his offensive actions. Oh, Lord, Isha, you are my master. Furthermore, you have unlimited glories, Ananta. Furthermore, you are my father, Adye. Furthermore, you are the supreme guru, Paramatmani, since you reveal the Vedas in my heart. You are the master of Maya. You are Krishna, Tvayi. In order of terms, the order of terms is with increasing significance. By spreading my Maya, I desire to see your greatness. Atma Vaibhavam. Oh, Maharaj Parikshit. Brahma, who was born from Vishnu's lotus navel, who resides in the sky, and who became astonished on seeing Krishna liberate Aghasura, this is that verse, came to Vrindavan, taking the boys and calves to another place in order to see some other power of the Lord, who was a boy with bewildering power. Brahma then disappeared. That's Sanatana Goswami's rendering of that verse. In this verse, H-I, he, indicates certainly or lamentation. Though this will not be an offense to you, I am such a low person. Kian. And the final commentary for this verse is Jiva Goswami's Krama Sandarbha. Krama Sandarbha is one of his commentaries on the Bhagavatam that speaks verse by verse, like Prabhupada's verse by verse. Krama Sandarbha. My Lord, translation, just see my uncivilized impudence to test your power. I tried to extend my Maya over you, the unlimited power, my Father, the master of Maya. What am I compared to you? I am just like a small spark in the presence of a great fire. That's the verse. The commentary, Aryam, very similar, means well-bred. That includes having wisdom. See my foul nature, my foolishness, anaryam. As a low-bred person, I have committed a foolish act against you, who are my master, my father. As a fool, I have committed an act against the soul of all, including me, against the person with unlimited powers. Not knowing all this, I spread my Maya over you, the master of Maya. Sounds like Jiva Goswami is following the other acharyas. Okay. By spreading Maya to see your powers, I am even more a rascal. He admits his pride. An example is given to show the extent of his low mentality. I'm like a spark in a great fire. So now, just going to read the translation and purport for the next one, text 10. So 10:14:10. Therefore, O infallible Lord, he's going to ask for forgiveness. Kindly excuse my offenses. I've taken birth in the mode of passion and am therefore simply foolish, presuming myself a controller and independent of your lordship. My eyes are blinded by the darkness of ignorance, which causes me to think of myself as the unborn creator of the universe. But please, consider that I am your servant and therefore worthy of your compassion. Okay, so purport. This is the BBT. This is not Prabhupada, it's Prabhupada's disciples writing. In his commentary, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that Brahma wanted to present the following argument to the Lord, quote, "My dear Lord, because I have acted so badly, I certainly deserve to be punished. On the other hand, because I am so ignorant, you should consider me an innocent fool and be merciful to me. Thus, although I deserve both punishment and forgiveness," he's just asking for the forgiveness part, "I humbly beg you to exercise tolerance in this matter and simply forgive me and show me your mercy." So at least in this case, Vishwanath is going in that other direction. He wants to be excused. He doesn't want the reaction. He wants the forgiveness. He's asking the Lord, you have the capacity for tolerance. Please tolerate me. Please forgive me. Please show me your mercy. Don't spank me. Don't punish me. Paragraph. The word natavan iti, nata means Lord. And natavan means one who has a Lord. So the servant of the master, natavan, indicate that Lord Brahma wanted to humbly remind Lord Krishna that he was, after all, Brahma's father and master, and therefore should forgive the unfortunate transgressions of his humble servant. Every conditioned soul, whether he be Lord Brahma or an insignificant ant, falsely identifies himself with the material world and in this way forgets his eternal relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Brahma became, because of his prestigious position as the cosmic creator, also tends to identify himself as the Lord of this world, and thus he sometimes forgets his position as an insignificant servant of the Supreme Lord. Now, by Lord Krishna's mercy, this false identification is being rectified, and Lord Brahma is remembering his constitutional position as the eternal servant of God. In Canto, there's a similarity between what's here and Canto 2, Chapter 9, which is where the Chatur verses of the Bhagavatam are found. Right? Chatur means four. Slokas, the four essential verses of the entire Srimad Bhagavatam, are in Canto 2, Chapter 9. And the context for that is at the very beginning of creation, Garbhodakshai Vishnu generates from his navel the stem of a lotus. The commentary says the stem of that lotus is the sum total of the karma of all the living entities within the universe. Ooh, and there goes the stem, and then there's the lotus flower atop the stem, and one of the living entities that also has some karma is Brahma, but most qualified, and he's the firstborn, and he does what he does. He searches for his source of existence, can't find. He hears tapa, he does tapa for 1,000 celestial years. In a place where it's just complete darkness. I mean, we wouldn't be so tolerant. No electricity, no sunlight, no moonlight, No video games. No cell phone. Not even a chair. There's nothing. There's nobody. There's nothing. It was just darkness in all directions. Pretty lonely. But he was very fixed on what he heard a voice, he heard a sound, and the sound said tapa, tapa. So he knew what that meant because he was very intelligent, and he did tapa. He received mantra, and he engaged in chanting of his mantra for 1,000 celestial years. One little boy the other day asked, how long is that? We didn't do the math. But one day because there weren't even celestial planets at that time, it was just Brahma. And Brahma's time is even greater, but the celestial year, the celestial day is 6 months here, Earth planet. And another 6 months is celestial night. So 1,000 such years. It's a long time to chant japa. No prasadam. Nobody to talk to. Nothing to get distracted by because there isn't even anything yet. So, 1,000 celestial years. And then Lord Vishnu appears before him, like in this darkness. And Brahma comes before Lord Vishnu, who stands to receive him. And they have some exchange. So in that exchange, Lord Vishnu says, you pleased me very much by your tapa, your austerities, and I am ready to offer to you anything you like. So one of the things that Brahma asks for is exactly the opposite of this. He asks, please let me not, as I'm engaged in the activity of creating the universe, please protect me from the misconception that I created the universe. Like you're making a drawing over here. Please protect me from the misconception that I'm making a drawing over here. Or, you're cooking in the kitchen. Please protect me from the misconception that I'm cooking in the kitchen over here. That is the doer. We're not the doer. We're servants, and everything is being supplied by the master, and we're just serving the master. That's the spiritual conception. It's not easy to carry that spiritual conception. It's very easy to carry the other one. The other one is I'm the doer. Karta aham. I am the doer. Very easy to think like that. Very, very easy. We do it all the time. And to think of the other one is not easy. I've spent some time today preparing for the winter retreat coming up. And the first day of the winter retreat is Christmas Day. And Christmas Day is Gita Jayanti this year. So in Bhagavad Gita, just taking this theme of what's happening here with Brahma, he got carried away with thinking I'm the creator, and I'm powerful, and I'm intelligent, and I'm this and that. He lost, because of that, he lost the sense of who he is really, and who is Krishna really, and he made his mistake based upon that misconception. And so once you're in the misconception, it's really hard to get out. Isn't it? So part of the discussion is it's like death. Like all that stuff that you thought you were, it dies. What are you left with? You're dead. The misconception self is dead. But what's the true conception self? Well, it's notional at best for us. And how to go from where we are with a notional idea of what we really are to what we really are. That's Bhagavad Gita. Taking Arjuna from that misconception, or here taking Brahma from that misconception to the spiritual concept for knowing who you are. So what would it be like to live your life knowing who you are in the way that it's being spoken of here? You're the non-doer. You're cooking in the kitchen, but I'm not cooking in the kitchen. Come on. I'm doing my homework, but I'm not doing my homework. I'm chanting my rounds, but I'm not chanting my... So, what's that like? Acting in a spiritual conception. Well, in simple terms, the realization comes from the mood of being the servant, or the instrument of Krishna's will. And he's giving the ability, the intelligence, the strength, the plan, the everything, to act as an instrument of his will. We're actively taking shelter of him to be protected from the illusory energy. And that's Brahma's prayer. But he goofed. Or the way that the purport is reading is sometimes. Then we can take it that in this case, the sometimes is Krishna was inducing him. But it's not exactly that Brahma is at the same platform as Arjuna. Arjuna is one of Krishna's eternal associates. Brahma is a post, someone occupies the post and goes on. Someone else occupies the post. Arjuna is an eternally situated in his relationship with Krishna. So his mistake is not exactly the same as Brahma's mistake or misdoing. At least the way this purport is reading, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, is because in the verse, he's saying, he is in charge of the mode of passion. So he has passion. He creates. Go, go, go. Build the universe. Take some passion. Now, it doesn't mean he's controlled by passion, but he's the controller of passion. So he's in contact with passion. He's sometimes influenced by it. Is sometimes influenced by ignorance, like he forgets who he is. That's ignorance. Then what to speak of us, right? That's, we get into that conundrum space. Oh, it's hopeless for me. Because even Brahma, that would speak of me. If he's a spark in a big fire, what am I? I'm not even a spark. And all those things. What applies for Brahma applies for us. Because in category, we're the same. And the principle of extrication from that smallness is the same. It's not that you become a devotee and all of a sudden the soul becomes a big soul instead of a small one. You become a Mahatma instead of a tiny Atma. You just become it's strengthened by or empowered by Krishna's internal potency. That's the hope. That's the aspiration. That's what surrender and taking shelter means. And that's what that Brahma is doing here. He's teaching us Krishna Tattva, or truths about Krishna. He's teaching us the process of overcoming our own shortcomings and the tendencies that arise from passion and ignorance. That means we're going to forget who we are. We're going to make mistakes, and we have to be responsible for our mistakes. But in facing Krishna, he is very intelligent. He's saying, "You're my father. Just consider me like a little boy that did something naughty, and just please forgive me, because my real position is I want to be in your shelter." If a child does something naughty and they say, it's not 16, 20, 50 times a day they say the same thing, but if occasionally that there's something naughty and they say, actually, I want to be a good son or daughter, and I don't want to be naughty, but please consider me, the affection that I'm extending to you, and knowing that you're affectionate to me, please be merciful to me and forgive me. Parent isn't going to say, forget it. Go to your room. Not going to do that. So Krishna's also, what to speak of a parent, he's most affectionate. He does show his mercy. It was said in previous verses, you've shown me such mercy. So we can expect his mercy. And the expectation of his mercy, we read in the previous verses, Mukti Pade, Swa Dayabak. He'll give us his association in the spiritual world and the opportunity to serve him. The opportunity to be engaged in Krishna service is the most awesome, best thing in our life. We may take it cheaply or take it for granted, but it's very, very special, because how many souls are there in Earth planet that are being engaged in Krishna service knowingly? I mean, everyone's engaged in Krishna service unknowingly, but knowingly, we're making offerings and Krishna's accepting, and we know that he's accepting. It's very special, because through that medium of that service, we're attracting Krishna. By calling his name, by calling one syllable of his name. The acharyas speak like this, or write like this. Oh, he's calling my name? I must give myself to him or her. We'll hear some more about this tomorrow. The commentary just does follow that same mood. It cites, our acharyas cite that celebrated verse from Yudhya where Ram says, one who even once sincerely calls out to take shelter of me, from that time I give them fearlessness. Wow. Doesn't mean, therefore, once upon a time, I remember I was really sincere and I called out. And rather, our understanding is ongoing way. We call out, seeking shelter and protection from our own madness, our own mad mind and contaminations and so forth, to give us his shelter. And that shelter is in the form of service. Letting go of the temporary and taking shelter of his loving service, the eternal position. It's really big. It's really big. It's the pathway out of the cycle in birth and death. That's really big. Devotional service. Okay, it's 7:15. We started a little bit late, but we'll see if we can have some discussion. You have something.
I'm just.
You want to call Ram's name once and be delivered, right?
I was just thinking, the forgetfulness is easy, and especially during the times of festival, like busy times, it is much easier. So, will I be forgiven? Will I be forgiven? Like, will we be forgiven? Especially the busy times, like festivals. Or
Busy for what?
busy
Forgiven
times,
for what? Excuse me.
forgiven for the forgetfulness, like my question is,
Yeah, what is your question?
so during the busy times, like festival time or those days, there are so many services to do, and then in the busy, flow, forgetfulness will happen naturally. So,
Well, for some people, it's more remembrance when it's busy, and forgetfulness when they're not so busy. You know what I mean?
I mean, for me, the busy day is.
That means you get caught up in what has to be done and not so much thinking, for whom are you doing it? Something like that? Well, the keeping yourself busy may help you be more mindful of for whom you are doing it, because otherwise it won't endure over a long period of time. Dushparena analena cha. It burns like fire. And, it's not like I want to stay in the fire. It hurts. Fire hurts, it burns. So passion is not the way to keep going. Just get busy, 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 so busy you don't have time to think about for whom you're busy. It's not sustainable. It can purify, but the purification fruit is, for whom am I doing this? Because when the busy is over, then I'm just exhausted and, not contented because I'm not busy anymore. Then I run to the next busy thing, and that's not contentment. So pause, or either slow down, or think of the bhakti principle is to think of, for whom am I doing this while I'm doing this? For whose pleasure? It's going to come up in the purports tomorrow morning also. Self-contentment that's genuine is Krishna's at the center. And otherwise it's not really self-contentment. It's just busy. That's passion.
I follow.
Yeah.
I'm also thinking, so at this stage, like when I'm not busy, then to move is not easy. Like to do anything, I'm not motivated. Like in the sense of I'm doing something is not there, then it is more. I mean, more passive.
Cultivate bhakti. That's the message. Busy, not busy. Cultivate bhakti. Because when you're not busy, then there's an opportunity to be mindful, and for whom. And then when you are busy, you have the opportunity to execute for whom. And so it's life, spiritual life, our progressive life is cultivate the bhakti principle. Whether it's this or that, whether it goes this way or that way. The cold weather is coming. And, when it's really hot, you maybe, I can't wait till it gets a little cooler. And when it's colder, you think, I can't wait till it gets warmer again. But the problem is not whether it's cooler or warmer. The problem is, what's our consciousness, whether it's cooler or warmer. That's the bhakti principle. Okay.
Krishna Guru Maharaj. You talked about Brahma asking for forgiveness. So we may do like I do so many bad things, but when I know that this was really not doable, like I shouldn't be doing that, but I still did it. and if I ask for forgiveness, to Krishna, does it still give the reaction of the action because we are not Brahma, we are like living and just normal human? Does it mean that even after for asking for forgiveness, we still have to go through the reactions of whatever mistake we did, or it can cut?
It's minimized. It's meant as a token reminder of those tendencies. It's not a fixed and rigid rule, first of all, but generally speaking, if some wrong has done, Krishna can easily forgive it. Just think of your children if they do something that's naughty or mischievous or something, and they come to you and acknowledge, I did something, I feel badly about this something, and it's this tendency comes out sometimes, and I don't like it. Please forgive me. So you just hug them. You're not gonna. So Krishna will forgive us, but that in that forgiveness, it different things can happen after the forgiveness. He can pick us up. He can he can do whatever he likes with us. So it's not so much your question specifically, are we responsible? We're responsible. So to help us, put it this way, residual tendency will be taken away. The forgiveness is there, but then there's residual tendency that's still there. You follow? And so Krishna will uplift or take away that residual tendency. But it's not a reaction for the wrong thing. It's vasana, our tendencies, whatever that is. So we each of us have our tendencies. So Krishna will help you with that. But it's not the same as a karmic reaction for a one-off thing, or 15 times you did something. It's not a karmic reaction. It's very different. Brahma Samhita, we read it in the morning class. Brahma Samhita text, which one is it? 34. Yastvindra Gopam Atavendra Mahosva Karma. From Indra down to Indra Gopa Germ, there's karma, but for the devotee, it's not karma. Rather, if there's some difficulty, something that Krishna puts one through, it's to take away that tendency altogether. Okay?
And one more question or opinion about, in previous lectures, we heard that yogis have to meditate and sit. So devotees also, we do japa, and the purpose is to meditate, meditate on the name, or
Yes.
so. What is your thought about japa walk? Like people.
I like japa walks. I chant most of my japa walking. I like.
So is it?
That's all right. But the walking should be done in such a way it's not distraction. It's giving focus to the meditation process. The process of it's mantra meditation. We're meditating. You can meditate while in the kitchen. You can meditate while in the shower. You can meditate while walking. It's meditation. It's not dependent upon, whether you're sitting or not sitting. You can sit and be distracted. You can walk and be meditating. They're okay.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
On.
Yes, to turn green. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. So I have few questions. First, follow from my wife's question. The first one that she asked about mistake and forgiveness.
Okay.
I feel like when I do something less than expected of me, in like due to my attachments and everything, I feel like it's easier to go to Krishna than my mentor or even my wife in asking for forgiveness. So because Krishna's reactions comes later on,
Because why?
like their answers comes right away, right? So I'm afraid of the answers sometimes.
But what if you see them as Krishna's representatives for you?
Mhm.
You can get an answer right away.
So is it recommended to go to mentor or Krishna?
Both. I mean, you're outlining a tendency, and the tendency is to go to Krishna because I might get a quick answer, and I might not be happy with the quick answer. It comes from my wife or from my mentor. So ultimately, the final analysis is between you and Krishna, and the other persons are agents or representatives of Krishna, or persons who Krishna has provided you the opportunity to serve with. So please Krishna in the varieties of ways that Krishna has provided the opportunity to please him and serve him. And that so the relationships with those who are provided by Krishna in that way, it's important that you consider Krishna's pleasure in all of this. So aversion isn't Krishna's pleasure. Well, you're not saying aversion, you're saying it's easier. I mean, if that you find it easy to go to Krishna, that's really good, because that's a sign of theism. It's a sign of devotion. And then take that same willingness to go to Krishna when you go to your wife or your mentor and say, I already talked to Krishna about this. And I don't know what he said. I'm waiting for his response. But let me share with you what I shared with Krishna. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's just part of the picture of a life of devotion. It's not just me and Krishna. Because often it's me and my wife, or me and my good associates, and Krishna's off somewhere in far away. So bring those relationships close to you, with Krishna at the center.
Thank you, Maharaj. Yeah. The second question is about Lord Brahma is trying to check Krishna's supremacy by testing him.
Yeah.
I feel like I do have that kind of propensities also. Like sometime I ask for Krishna to show me the sign, some kind of mystical sign for his existence, or helping me choose something from A or B.
Well, that second one is not problematic. I wish to have your intelligence, not mine. So I'm seeking your intelligence. Please guide my intelligence. That's fine.
That's fine. Okay. So in that kind of cases, if just looking for some kind of a mystical sign is not, I feel like
It's not regular part of the bhakti process. Show me some sign so I can believe you. Now Krishna can do that. It's a little bit like that's what Brahma did. Let's see some of your mystic powers, and then I can gauge how powerful you are. Not so
Okay.
good.
Thank you, Maharaj. There is one off topic, but I'm kind of right now going through. I have a colleague, and I here and now I meet her, and she's kind of atheist, not really atheist, like a little agnostic. She said that even if there is God, like might be offhand, like like everything is just going. There is no intrusion, or there is nothing that God is doing. Everything is automatic here.
Yeah, that's a kind of theism.
Yeah. So is it okay to gift her Bhagavad Gita and
Sure.
like preach?
Sure,
Okay.
sure. What you might want to, since that is her conviction, learn about her conviction. Take a look at the bucket and see where the bucket has holes in it. And let her know that you understand what she understands. You've taken the trouble to have get a sense of there's this, I forget which is which, but there's this terminology, there's theism and deism.
Yeah, I think she used that word deism.
Deism.
Yeah.
Deism is, in Europe, this is something that's, you probably could find some description of this from Sadaputta's writings. But both Sadaputta what's up?
She has a cut in her.
She was a curtain.
Oh.
Started bleeding.
Oh, okay. Sadaputta and Rabindra Sarup Prabhu both had a lot of fascination with European history because they saw it as a transition from Vedic culture. In fact, Rabindra Sarup Prabhu did his PhD on this topic. From Vedic culture through European history to get where we are today. So, conceptions of things, including conceptions of God. So one of those was, there was a period of time in Europe, and it's particularly in Germany and Switzerland, there was a fascination with clocks. So deism evolved from clocks, where God is the clockmaker, and then after he makes the clock, he doesn't have anything to do with it. It just runs. So God creates, okay, but then there's no interaction with God and the clock, the creation that he created. It's just a one-time deal. And it's a conception. So they're most likely, along with the explanation of deism, there's explanations of where are the holes in it. And one person for sure who knows, because it was his PhD thesis, is Rabindra Sarup Prabhu. And the best way to contact him is through his secretary, and she doesn't answer really quickly. But Shraddha Devi, I can give you her contact information and say, just explain. You have a colleague that speaks on this, or Ramapad Maharaj mentioned Rabindra Sarup Prabhu's piece. So is there some article that he's written on deism and where the bucket has holes in it? And you can do your own research as well. And just, you show her that you're taking some time and trouble to pay attention to what her views are. And then, either where the bucket has holes in it, or here's what the Vedic model says, without necessarily pointing out where the holes are. There's ongoing interaction. The Vedic conception is there's Paramatma, and so there's Mahavishnu who creates the universe, and there's Kshirodakshay Vishnu who interacts with the universe, and on the atomic level. Maya Jakshena Prakriti. That's the Vedic conception. And she may say, well, that's interesting, but that's not my conception. But, depending on what you want to do, that you can explain.
Thank you, Maharaj.
This question is from Shravan Prabhu. When Lord Brahma says, I have committed an offense to oversoul and also including myself. What does this mean? Could you please elaborate the term including myself?
Rather than responding to what he's saying, I want to see what he's saying is what our Acharya is saying. Did you catch that from what I read?
It's, he texted in the very early part of the reading.
I'll read aloud. In this is Jiva Goswami's commentary. In this verse, Brahma asks forgiveness for his offense, making himself an example of the futility of trying to know the Lord. Here's the definition of Aryam. He's Anaryam. As a low-bred person, I've committed a foolish act against you, my master, my father. As a fool, I've committed an act against the soul of all, including me, against the person with unlimited powers. Not knowing all of this, I spread Maya over you, the master of Maya. This makes me the greatest fool. Why? I wanted to see your powers. Previously, it was stated that he wanted to see some other sweet powers of the Lord. By spreading Maya to see your powers, I am even more of a rascal. Example, the spark in the fire. Sanatana Goswami.
That part came, right?
Huh?
That part came already.
What?
The part that Prabhu is mentioning is already there.
Is where?
It-
In what I just read? Really?
All souls, including me.
Well, he is the, as a fool, I have committed an act against the soul of all, including me. He's the soul of all, and I'm part of all. He's the Paramatma of all souls, and I'm included amongst all souls. Is that it? Okay. I'm part of all souls. He's my Paramatma, he's the Paramatma of all everybody else. Okay. Next.
This next question is from Chinmay Desai. Mataji. So her moved by your advice to me at part 9.
Which?
The series Prayers of Lord Brahma, part 9, session 9. This is session 14. She is saying that
Okay.
these online live stream lectures here, I got my life's first set of Srimad Bhagavatam. You had recommended to get a set of Bhagavatam and they
Okay.
got it. And
Okay.
yeah. Sorry. And then the next question is from Snehavalli Mataji. I'm always puzzled by the statement that karma of the living entities is used to constitute the stem and the lotus flower on which Lord Brahma appeared. The puzzling thing is that no material element is used, but karma of the living entities. By this, it looks like that karma is eternal, but from Bhagavad Gita, we know that karma is not eternal. Could you please comment?
Sure. It doesn't say there's no elements, but it's arising from the karma. So during cosmic annihilation, time is withdrawn. During cosmic creation, time is extended. So time agitates and activates karma. So the cause is karma being activated. It doesn't mean that the stem is karma. The stem arises from the karma of all living entities being activated. So maybe the fault is in my language. It arises from the collective karma of all the living entities in the universe. Doesn't mean it's this subtle karma thing. But, the fact that it's temporary is also quite okay, because the cosmic manifestation is also temporary. But the stem itself is not the collective karma. It arises from the collective karma being activated. That's it. Okay.
I had some kind of like thought or questions, but I'm not clear if I'm going to put it right. The first thing is when Lord Brahma is asking that I deserve to be punished, but I deserve to also receive mercy. It seems a very nice, balanced, and very heartfelt approach.
Yes, it does.
And I was just I was remembering one of my conversations with one of my friends about how the self-sabotaging tendency sometimes, like, if at all, if some mistake is done, then it's like, okay,
It's self
sabotaging
tendency is what? Speak slowly. Your voice sped up, then I couldn't catch it.
Yeah, I was trying to understand the this part when Lord Brahma is saying I deserve to be punished.
Yeah.
It really feels very wholesome and clean, and the tendency of self-sabotaging, like I deserve to be punished, and then people take withdraw and then just like
check out.
Yeah, so that from moving from there to here, what element moves one from there to here, where the feeling is kind of similar, but it's just different plane or different platform or.
Well, to me, it seems very simple in principle, and the simple principle is being confident and trusting in Krishna, in the relationship with Krishna, that Krishna is loving. When that's missing or weak, then it's all about me and what I'm comfortable with. But when I'm comfortable being under Krishna's care, I mean, I'm thinking, my thoughts are going to the same discussion about we're not independent, we're dependent. That question Govinda Mohini was asking. We're in all circumstances dependent. We can choose to be dependent this way or that way. But we're not, we have free will, but it's not unlimited, it's limited. So we have free will, and it's dependent free will. Even the limited free will that we have is dependent. So if you're feeling dependent upon a loving person, you have freedom. And if you're dependent upon, if you're just not thinking it's a loving person, then it hurts, it's pain, it's miserable. So then, anyway, in response to your question, like the self-deprecation thing is, it changes when there is real shelter with a loving person. That's Sharanagati. There is a very powerful and very loving, because powerful sometimes looks like abusive. And if there's a very caring person, they may not be so capable. But Krishna is fully capable, and he's fully merciful and loving. So that makes the difference. That, I deserve to be punished, and if he wishes, then it's for my best interest. And he'll do it in such a way that my best interest will be served. I trust that because he's loving. Okay. Yeah.
This other one is like, uh, I've been thinking about this. When engaging one's nature in serving Krishna, like when trying to serve, there's always this other side of tendencies of pride or this or that and other unwholesome tendencies.
Mm.
And the way right now I'm approaching these is like when I become aware, then I just trust that by engaging, Krishna will take care of me and these tendencies will be, addressed in a sense that I don't have to overanalyze at this point. I'm at the point where I'm not able to overanalyze about these. Is this a right mood? Or is it okay to just continue the services with the feeling that just by engaging in services and being kind of watchful, Krishna protects?
Well, you can also have dialogue with Krishna, like he was describing. My dear Lord Krishna, I don't want to overanalyze. And I know that I have such a tendency, but I get exhausted just trying to analyze the tendency. So I'm relying upon you. Please give me the intelligence to see as I need to see and to do course correction as I need to do course correction. So that is to say, you don't become complacent or make Krishna be your janitor. You're actively engaged, but not over analytical, because that isn't going to make the change anyways. It's Krishna's mercy and your effort, that same formula. So I want to continue making effort and not become complacent, and make Krishna clean up my messes. I want to take responsibility, but I'm depending upon Krishna at the same time. And you continue along that line, and it's going to help correct things that need correction quicker than you just, okay, Krishna, you can make me whole or not as you wish. Yeah.
The other thought that I was wanting a little bit more, maybe it's related. The one has to be independently thoughtful, or one has to become independently thoughtful, but at the same time not just independent.
Yes.
So the difference, what I understand, is that there may be independent thoughtfulness, but as long as one acts in relationship with Guru and Krishna and consulting, then it's not independent. Like, is that?
Yeah, it's not just consulting, it's alignment. Alignment means my existence is servant of Krishna. That's who I am. That's what I'm meant for eternally. And I've departed from that. So that takes independent thoughtfulness, not independence. So let me always align myself with Guru and Krishna. And then it's not independent. It's independently thoughtful. And how to go about that is it requires independent thoughtfulness, because we have conditioned tendencies that are moving us like the waves are moving a ship, this way, that way. So we that's independence. So independently thoughtful is, let me stay the course of who I really am in the deeper sense, and let that evolve in an independently thoughtful manner, aligned with Guru and Krishna, like that. Okay? Something else.
So this question is from, okay, they want to be anonymous.
Okay, it's okay.
So one of the key takeaways for me in this pastime of Lord Brahma's ability to accept his mistakes and still remain fixed in his mood of devotional service.
Good.
Lord Brahma is a topmost devotee and his purity cannot be unmatched. So his situation. Even though he made a mistake, it's instructional.
Yes.
How do we understand devotees who hold high or authoritative positions, but they have severely blasphemed advanced devotees and yet still maintain their services and continue moving forward in spiritual life, if only externally? How do we understand this?
Signed anonymous. Well, such persons have a relationship with Krishna, and Krishna will deal with them in ways that Krishna deals with people. And what's going on inside that individual that you're referring to, whoever that category of individuals, you don't know, or we don't know what their thought processes are, but Krishna does. And they're accountable to Krishna. And Krishna will deal with things in the way that Krishna deals with things. Now that may not be very satisfying, but that's part of reality. It's part of the lessons of maturity. This is a lesson I learned from Burijan long ago, like 30 years ago. There are some situations that it's just between Krishna and that individual, and you just don't take Krishna's position and try to do Krishna's job. That's a Brahmana's detachment. That's Burijan. And it's true. Krishna will help that person do a course correction, provided there is still some submission to Krishna. And if the person is not submissive to Krishna, Krishna can remove them. But if they're submissive to Krishna, Krishna can do a course correction, or whatever he wants to do, because they're his part and parcel living entities, meant for Krishna's pleasure. Now, then it starts to get a little complicated analytically. What about the innocent people that this other individual is leading, and they're heading for the ditch? Krishna will do the course correction for those innocent people too. Krishna is not fallible. We're fallible. Next. That's it. Okay. You got a masterpiece there? You're really working out. Are you hoping to be an artist one day? No? Just having fun. Okay. I received a drawing. This is for you. I received a drawing yesterday. No, 3 days ago. From, how old are you now?
Older.
What's your age? 6. This young girl is 18. And she sent, I received a painting that she made that's really fantastic. And how she got the skill is doing just what you're doing. Sitting in Bhagavatam classes, making drawings. Trying this, trying that, trying this, trying that. And she's kind of developed a skill at it. And you know Prahlad? Nityananda Pran and Monkey's son, Prahlad? You know him? You're not sure? He's now a teenager too. But he did like this. during class time, he had his pencils and he had his drawing pad and he drew and he drew and he drew and he drew and he got good at drawing. And now he makes digital images of Lord Nrsimhadev and Lord Chaitanya in the 6-arm form, and just from doing what you're doing. It just grew naturally. So who knows? Maybe there's hidden talent inside there somewhere.
It's very artistic.
Yeah.
He draws paintings of Krishna and hair.
And he's a little shy, so I don't mind just being shy, but maybe there's some service to Krishna inside there that's going to come out after some time, just by drawing and drawing. You were really absorbed.